Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I would like to say happy Sunday, you guys. It's not a happy Sunday down here in the Sunshine State. The sun is not shining. In fact, the Buccaneers, the Jags, and the Finns all lost today. And it was just extremely frustrating situations there for all three of those games. We'll get into that. College football, right? So no Gators football, but we did have Knowles and Miami football. They played each other. That's a rivalry game. We'll talk about that, guys. We have some NHL and NBA returning to action and to the main fold, guys. So super excited to talk about those teams. Our Florida teams are playing very well in hockey and pretty well in basketball as well. And then, of course, we're going to wrap things up with the MLS, and we'll talk about what's going on in these two-game series so far, or at least what we have seen through these first two games, or what we will see moving forward. But all that and more coming to you this week's episode of Palm Tree Sports Radio. Again, my name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome to this week's episode of Palm Tree Sports Radio, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So, off the top, I'm just gonna let you guys know I'm a little bit sad about today's events with the NFL. So, if my tone is a little bit less than what it normally is, I apologize in advance, guys. We're still going to have a good show. I'm still going to deliver this content, and I still have a lot to share with you guys. So like I said, rough day in the NFL, a little bit better day for college, yesterday. So not a lot of complaints there. Of course, Miami played FSU. We knew how that was going to go, right? So Magic basketball, Heat basketball back in action. Both teams playing all right to start the season. Hopefully they continue to improve as time goes on. We'll get into that. And then, of course, hockey, NHL, has returned. So super excited about that. Our boys in blue are playing hockey again, and they're playing very, very well. And, of course, our boys in red across the state are also playing very, very well. So congratulations to both of those teams on starting the year off right. And let's just continue to build upon that, boys. MLS, right? So obviously, best player, best team in soccer. There's always going to be a positive moment there. They're playing Atlanta United, so we'll talk about that and why this is going to be a short series, and they're going to continue to move on until there's to the end of this thing. Orlando City, also playing pretty good soccer, so we'll check in to see how they're doing against Charlotte. Last time I saw it, it was 1-0 at the half, so we'll see if anything has changed. If you guys see the score on that, throw that into the chat. I'll put it on the channel, guys. But for the time being, we can definitely talk about socials, right? So for those of you who are looking to follow IE Sports Radio, no matter what platform you're on, whether it is Twitter or known as X now, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, guys, you can find it at IE Sports Radio. That's at IE Sports Radio, guys. Go check it out. Socials are always active. All those lines of communication are always active. Of course, the team members were always bouncing back and forth between each other all the time, always talking all things sports, guys. So if you got something you want to throw in there, please feel free to join us on our socials and throw something into the comment section, and we'll be sure to rebuttal or agree. If you are looking for the radio shows like my very own, for any of the other states that are covered, guys, you can find them on all Apple devices as far as podcasts would be concerned, whether you have, iPhone or Mac, whatever it is that you listen to, Spreaker, Spotify, Amazon, etc. It doesn't matter where you get your podcast from. You can find us all there. I listen on Apple Podcasts, of course, so that's what's easiest for me. So I can tell you, if you have an iPhone, that's going to be the answer for you, guys. So go check it out. Go check out all the shows, guys. There's so many great shows, not just Palm Tree Sports Radio, of course, but again, no matter what state it is you're looking for, you got a good amount of them covered, guys. So go check it out and, let us know what you think. IE Sports Radio is going to be the universal hub for IE Sports Radio, as it sounds, .com. So this is where you're going to be able to find every single show that we have to offer. This is the umbrella that all of our shows hang under, and this is going to be the place to go look, especially if you're looking for more content like my very own. Palm Tree Sports Radio, again, is not the only show. There are a ton of other shows. I have dabbled in every single one of them, just about, if I'm not mistaken. And I love hearing, for me, it's about what I can learn from my peers, realistically. I love to hear about what's going on in the teams, of course. But if we're not playing each other that week, it's not always as relevant. But what is relevant? Seeing what my peers do and seeing how effective they are with their audience, seeing what they do and seeing how I can take notes, how I can learn from them to be a better, podcaster myself. And I truly enjoy this. And I know the others enjoy it too. So, again, if you're looking for shows like this, look no further than iSportsRadio.com, guys. iSportsRadio.com/shop. So this is going to be where all of your apparel's at, t-shirts, has, Larry has a banner, of course. So, there's a bunch of different things there that you can go check out, guys, and also to help support the channel. Of course, we are greatly appreciative, but even more so than that, we hope you enjoy the gear. Now, moving forward on to my specific show, Palm Tree Sports. So it's going to be www.iesportsradio.com/Palm Tree Sports. That's to cut out the middleman. If that's what you're trying to do, that's the way to do it. But yeah, that's my specific show. The show that it comes on every Sunday evening at 9 p.m. The one that you're listening to right now, of course. So if you want to see what our website has to offer as far as Palm Tree Sports is concerned, that's going to be the website for you to check out. Now for the official @ or my handle for the show, it's going to be @palmtree_IE_, very important, guys. But that's for the show on the socials, guys. That's where you can find my show. And then if you are looking for me, guilty as charged, you can find me @Pujols Corey. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm all on TikTok, all over the place, guys. And I'll always, obviously have an opinion. I've been doing this, sports, that is, for 26 years now. So it's been a long time since I was a boy, and so there's a lot to share, there's a lot to talk about there. But that's where you find me at, guys. Where you can find all the information for my show and all the other shows that IE Sports Radio has to offer. But IE Sports Radio would not be IE Sports Radio if we didn't have our sponsors. And our sponsors for this evening are going to be Planet Jerky. The jerky that's on a whole nother planet is beef jerky, for the record, and of course Seal the Deal wax seals by our very own Cecilia B. We are going to go ahead and get into a message from them, and then once we get back to the show, we will be on our way with all the information that I have for you up until this point this evening. You guys keep it locked here, and again, one message from our sponsors. Check it out, guys. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. These things happen. Here we are.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Guys, welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, is brought to you powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Guys, as you can see, we're about to talk Bucks, and couldn't be more depressed to do so. In all honesty, guys, it's rough down here. It's really, really rough down here. So before we do that, let's check in with the chat real quick, actually, and let's see what the folks have to say. Yeah, Yukio, it's always good to see you, my friend. Yeah, let's have a great show. I really appreciate it. T-Rod, pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure. Yeah, man, such a just so about that, right? So for those of you who did not watch, for those of you who maybe you just don't like the Bucks, you don't care about them. Last week during the Ravens 41-31 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Evans ruptured a hamstring. He's going to be out till week 12. That's what it looks like. Tyke Smith suffered a concussion, and at the end of the game, Chris Godwin was hit dirty and hit in a very unhealthy manner to hit somebody, which caused him. It looked like a broken leg. When I first saw it, it looked like a broken leg. I'm pleased to say it's not a broken leg, but it is a dislocated ankle, and it was a relatively bad dislocation. He's done for the season. If you guys have been keeping up with the NFL, Chris Godwin was a top 2, top 3 receiver in the NFL. At one point in time, I think he was number 1 in the league, and tied with Mike Evans for receiving touchdowns. I think it was before the injury. Actually, I think it was during that game versus the Ravens. He also had the most yards after contact. Chris Godwin was putting up career numbers. He was leading the league in a lot of receiving categories, if not tied, and it couldn't have happened to a better guy. These injuries couldn't have happened to better people. When I tell you that, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have been extremely involved in the Tampa Bay area. I mean, I partner with this. My job is working with the city, guys. Okay. I do environmental stewardship as a full-time position, and I work directly with the city on a lot of landscaping, a lot of just environmental duties, and just anything you can think of. After the hurricanes, I was doing outreach. Okay. So was Chris Godwin and his wife. So was the Mike Evans Foundation. He has his own nonprofit foundation. These are people who are just some of the best people we have to offer here in Tampa Bay. And for them to experience what they experienced in the game, yeah, sure, they're just injuries. Yeah, but these are injuries that for the individual player is a big deal. So as a Buccaneers fan, watching the Ravens game was like having my, it felt like having my heart ripped out of my chest, guys. Especially Chris. And it was at the end of the game, So Chris said, when he got on the truck to go to the back, he said back to work. So remember, this is his second season-ending leg injury that he suffered in the last 4 years. So stupid painful. The loss was painful. I love Lamar Jackson. I've always been fond of the Ravens. My mother likes the Ravens a lot. But I do have to say that right now, I'm gonna say this as professional as I can. I despise that franchise right now, and I get it. It's part of the game and whatnot. But that game, a lot of you guys probably saw some of it. They were real physical out there, and I'm usually a fan of physicality, but I think his name's Patrick Queen, who delivered the hit to Chris Godwin. He got docked $16,833 for that hit because it was dirty. And not only was it dirty, that's not how you do it. I played football, I played defense. You get taught to wrap up. You don't get taught to jump on their back like a kangaroo and try to yank them down like you're trying to hit a zigzag like Dolph Ziggler used to do 10 years ago. That's not what you're doing here, guys. This is not pro wrestling. This is the NFL. And, if that was the case, why didn't somebody just do that to every quarterback, right? Like, why doesn't somebody just tackle them like that? Which we actually saw the Saints do that. If any of you guys watched the Saints game, that was a dirty hit on Justin Herbert. T-Rod, you probably saw that. I'm saying that right here. That was a terrible, dude, he had already gotten rid of the ball. Let the quarterback's leg go. There's no need to do all that. And I'm glad that 75 stepped up and jumped on the other guy, because that's your quarterback, man. Anyway, regardless of all that, guys, it was a physical game. Like I said, I've always loved the Ravens. Lamar's best player in the NFL. Okay, he was the best player in the NFL, I guess, before today, because I think they lost to the Browns. How fitting is that, right? So here's the triangle, guys. Lamar Jackson destroys the Buccaneers, who Jameis Winston used to play for. Jameis Winston's been sitting on the bench this whole time, kind of doing something like what Baker was doing with the Browns. Now he's doing what Winston was doing with the Bucs, throwing all these interceptions. What is that? 7 interceptions in 3 weeks, guys. And then you have Jameis, who's coming off the bench to defeat the 5 in a row winning Ravens. And Lamar apparently got frustrated and threw his helmet down. Lamar, shut up, bro. Come on, man. Like, you can't be perfect, all right? I mean, listen, I've been a fan of yours since high school, and though I'm a little salty that y'all just wrecked us last week, at the same time, bro, you throwing your helmet down, bro? Like, we get on Odell Beckham Jr. when he used to do stuff like that. We got to get on your case, bro. So, no, that's not how you do it. That's not how a 2-time league MVP and should have been playing in the Super Bowl last year and Super Bowl MVP, because if the Ravens play the Niners, they're beating them again. That's not how you're supposed to be acting, bro. As somebody who's also emotional, that's not how you act, bro. So in any case, I had to get that out of the way because that was last week. Obviously, that game was on Monday, so I didn't get to talk about it except what I thought was going to happen the night before. But obviously, none of that happened. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Ravens, great team, just still a great team whether they lose to the Browns or not. Lamar, best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. Looks like MVP again. And then there's on, like I said, on the other side with Baker, he's got 7 interceptions in 3 weeks. He's still putting up monster numbers. Today he put up big numbers, 37 to 50, but he shouldn't be throwing the ball 50 times. 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I don't blame Baker. I can't defend him. I don't blame him, though. This week was, obviously some of those interceptions were bad timing and whatnot, but I'm also starting to think that the offense is – so here's what my issue is. Baker shouldn't be throwing the ball 50 times. I said that. And I think the offense is starting to revert into an area where they're having to throw the ball 50 times because we're playing from behind a lot. And that's one of the things that people don't really realize. And when you realize that you're playing behind, you got to look at the players. And if you look at the players and you see that over the last 3 weeks, the Buccaneers score was 17 points in the first quarter. Last week was 10 points in the first quarter. This week was only 7 points in the first quarter. And you can kind of see how, like, okay, the game is going from bad to worse to just out of control. So we got to stop trying to abandon the run when we're playing from behind. We have to be more surgical in our time of possession. We have to make better decisions when we need to make better decisions. I mean, it sounds like such a what do you call that when something is just obvious? Like, you think it's obvious, right? Like, you would think, but no, it's like legitimately a thing where decision making at pressure cooking times is just becoming bad in Tampa Bay. And I feel like it's just going down from head coach, offensive line, or offensive coordinator, and then quarterback. And so because of that, I think a lot of people are looking at balls and we're saying, listen, Todd, this defense, you can look at Baker and say, stop throwing interceptions, but then you realize he's put up 29 points, or he's averaged 29 points over the last 4 or 5 games. Like, you're supposed to be winning those games when you're scoring 29 points a game. You're supposed to win those games, right? So we can, like I said, I can look at Baker all I want. I can't really blame him for much, outside of the picks. What am I to blame him for? The defense is just getting carved up right now. Even with our safety tandem back there, we have no cornerbacks right now. Okay, and low key, we have a lot of people that are injured as well. I mean, we've been dealing with injuries since before the season even started. So it's just a rough go right now for Tampa Bay, guys. To chalk up the rest of the details, Cade Otton, big day for him. It was tight end day. Well, it was tight end day for him. He goes 9 receptions, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns, guys. What is it? 9 times 9 is 81. So he averaged 9 yards a catch. It's pretty good for a tight end. When you're getting 9 catches in a game. Of course, there's no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. Shepard went out. So, I mean, and then the flip side of that, I also want to point something else out. So we lost to the Falcons, right? Guys, the Falcons were trying to troll Tampa Bay after the game. Falcons, I'm going to say this with malicious intent. You're not a real franchise. You just exist because other teams allow it. You trying to troll somebody is like a child trying to like a toddler trying to fight a martial artist. Like, you're saying it like y'all have something to stand on. The best things that ever happened to y'all was Deion Sanders and Michael Vick. If you take that away, everything else is just, here you go. I mean, so what are you trolling at? Here's a troll. You guys lost 2 of the most one-sided Super Bowls in NFL history, and one of them was one-sided in your favor. There's a troll. Since we're going to troll, guys, I'm going to troll real quick, okay, guys? So you're the only franchise in NFL history that I ever saw in the NFC that is, like, beat up in a stupid amount of points and then lose, and then, like, while you're losing, y'all were talking crap. Like, you're just like Tom Brady, washed, and then he, like, brings it back, right? And then you guys are just like, and everybody else that's not a Falcons fan is just like, haha. I mean, and then the first Super Bowl y'all played the Broncos. Y'all knew y'all really shouldn't have beat Minnesota that year, right? Y'all remember that year? That was when Minnesota went like 15-1. Atlanta shouldn't even. The one loss that they had was to Tampa Bay, by the way, just in case you guys didn't know that. But no, Atlanta had no business winning that game. That was luck. And you know it's luck because the Super Bowl happened. Y'all scored like 17. The Broncos put up like 52 or something. Anyway, so since we're trolling, let's just remind y'all that y'all are 0-2 in Super Bowls, that your franchise doesn't exist, and the only reason why that you guys have a label in Atlanta for a team is because the market is there. I mean, it could have been anything else, right? Y'all could have been a better animal. I don't know. But in any case, guys, Salty Buccaneer at Twitter, you'd like that little part. But I also wanted to call out the refs during that Kyle Pitts touchdown. And yes, I'm waving this thing around like a wand, this pen like a wand, because I'm feeling like casting a spell or something. But the point that I'm trying to make is the referees called that Kyle Pitts touchdown. Now, Kyle, you're a Gator. Shame on you for handling the ball with such carelessness. Okay, I'm very disappointed in you, sir. And I don't care that you play for Atlanta. I still love you, but you better secure that football, because that was a fumble out of the back of the end zone. That should have been a touch back in Buccaneer football. That's exactly what that should have been, and it wasn't, because the referees decided they were broke. So here's the excuse for those of you who saw this play. If you did, put it in the chat, please, and let me know if you saw the play or not. But Kyle Pitts thought he was all by himself. Antoine Winfield Jr. had hawked him down, as he have done many, many times, and he did it to Atlanta last year, actually. And Kyle Pitts had his hand out, kind of like so, with the ball just kind of dangling in his hand. And Antoine Winfield knocked it out before he crossed the plane. The physics that I'm not understanding and the referees are seeing is that if he's got his hands like this, guys, your arms are adjacent to what? The rest of your body, if I'm not mistaken. And his front foot had not crossed the pylon. If your front foot hasn't crossed the pylon or broke that little boundary, the little white chalk, and the football is on your, it's not like he extended it out. He didn't do that. He had his arms out. He had his arm like this. And so that means the ball physically probably did not cross the goal line. Again, if he had stretched it out, like if he had Supermaned it, he didn't Superman it. Okay. He didn't do any of that. Go watch the replay. Let me know what you think. Okay. But if you take that touchdown off the board, the Bucs still win the game. The Bucs still had a shot to win the game at the end of the game. Unfortunately, poor clock management by Todd Bowles, and that's his fault, okay, because he is not an offensive-minded person. When he played in the NFL, he played defense. Remember that, guys. So terrible clock management cost the Bucs this game. I don't care. You can throw Baker under the bus all you want. The man threw for 330 yards, okay? Still had 3 touchdowns. Yeah, there's 2 interceptions, but listen, if you're not playing from behind, you don't have this problem, and if you're playing effectively, if you don't fumble the ball to start the game, maybe we're not having this conversation, guys. Maybe we're not having this conversation. I'm done, okay? I've said enough. I've said all that I had to say, okay? Is the season over? Yes, the season is over, you guys. It's a question a lot of Twitter was talking about, but for the most part, we knew the season was over last week when we saw our number 1 and number 2 receivers go down. For the record, the Buccaneers have now lost to Atlanta Falcons twice. The Atlanta Falcons own sole possession of the top of the division right now. It doesn't really matter what else the Buccaneers do the rest of the season, because there are much better teams in the NFC right now. In fact, the entire NFC North could, in fact, make the playoffs this year. If you haven't seen it, go look at the NFC North's record. Everybody's like 5-2 or 5-3 and better. Okay, so season's over for the Bucs. It doesn't matter. Atlanta's going to win the division because the NFL wanted it. By the way, if you guys didn't see it, Vegas had Atlanta winning the division before the season started. We've seen the bullshit. Okay. We saw it again today. We saw it in the first game. Atlanta's not really that good. Mark my words. Atlanta would lose to any single team that's in the NFC North right now. I doubt that I honestly think the Eagles could probably beat them right now. I mean, I'm not hating. I'm just telling you right now, as somebody who watches this team play, they have great pieces in great places, but all you basically need is a defensive line that can just get to Kirk. I don't even care if you have defenders at that point. If you can just get to Kirk, because that's what we weren't able to do. We just couldn't get to him. All right. And both him and Spencer Rattler. Okay. And so just take that in consideration, guys. The NFC is not as wide as you think it is. The NFC South is done for. And like I said, Atlanta's not the real deal. Just they're not. My bet is that they end up having to play like Detroit or something. Detroit's the top of the division, right? Yeah, so either the Packers or Detroit, either one of those teams, I'm expecting to beat Atlanta, and that's the end of that. That's all. The next game for the Buccaneers is going to be against the Chiefs. That's the 7-0 Chiefs and the referees. I'm sorry. But that's the next game for the Buccaneers. That game's going to be Monday, November 4th at 8:15 p.m. While we have another Monday night game at this point, I'm sure I don't know, but they made it Monday night way back when, and they know the Buccaneers don't play well on Monday night. And then we got to play the Chiefs, who we haven't played well against over the last few years to begin with. If you take away the Super Bowl, I think we're like 0-3 over those other 3 meetings. So just do with that information what you will. By the way, we're playing the Chiefs so much more than we ever played back when I was growing up, but whatever. Anyway, so I fully suspect the Chiefs to move to 8-0 after that game. Again, I believe the Bucs season is over. We saw a lot of good stuff from K-Dot and from Bucky Irving, but realistically, there's not a whole lot this franchise can do right now when you're missing the kind of talent we're missing in the areas that we're missing, guys. We still put up good fight, but it's not enough. Let's go ahead and go through the last 2 teams for the NFL, and then we'll jump into our first break of the evening, guys. The Jags continuing their struggles. Of course, they had to play the Packers. Played a great game. It just wasn't enough. I can't even say that T-Law got outdueled. I won't even say that that's what happened. I will just say that how how can I say this? If the Jags were going to win this game, they were going to do it running the football, and they didn't run the football enough to win the game. That's how I'm going to say it. Because when I look at these two teams and I see the way that T-Law is playing right now, he's not playing bad football. Okay, yeah, the interception hurts, but it's just one interception. It's not that. It's not the interception. He goes 21 of 32, 308 yards for 2 touchdowns. Okay, Bigsby goes 18 carries for 78 yards. I think that's what my problem is. I think I'm looking at Bigsby and I'm saying the kid's he has it, but you got to keep going. I mean, and yeah, 18 carries. It seems like a lot, but on the flip side of it, you also got to look at the interception. You think to yourself, okay, one of the things that I ask myself when I see somebody throw an interception is what could we called in that situation, right? Because what did we miss in the defense? What did the safety pull a Ed Reed and like go to the right and then circle back around over the backside and then come back to the left? Did the linebacker, was he a spy on that play? Like, you got to ask yourself some of these questions, because a lot of answers could be checked at the line and turned into a better play. And on situations like that, that's where you run the football, especially if it's not on third down. I mean, if it's not on third down, run the ball. You don't really know sometimes. They disguise coverages very well for defenses right now. So, I can understand that part, but that's one of those things that I look at and I say, okay, could we have turn that interception to a 5-yard gain? If so, do you guys score? If so, do you win the game? The score was 30-27, guys. So, Jags played well, almost took down a Titan in the NFL right now, but unfortunately a juggernaut in the NFL right now. But Packers improved to 6-2. Jags dropped to 2-6. And I guess they're right where they belong, given what's going on in both of those franchises. Again, the NFC North is the most competitive division in football. 3 of the best teams for sure, 4 of really good teams in general. What can you say about them? Next game for the Jags is going to be against the Eagles, so things don't get easier for them. Eagles are 5-2 right now, coming off of a victory against the Cincinnati Bengals, if I remember correctly. That game is going to be Sunday, November 3rd at 4:05 p.m. Afternoon game for that seems like a bit much. There's going to be a lot of green flying around at least. So I hope that the Jags can win this game, but we'll see what happens. Again, T-Law hasn't been playing bad football, but it seems like all the teams in Florida are just forgetting to continue to run the ball. And when you start getting your quarterback throwing the ball too much, you're going to have interceptions, which is what we're seeing, right? So between the Jags and the Buccaneers, 3 interceptions. That's a lot, man. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is professional football, guys. Interceptions hurt. So that's Jags. Fins, they lost to the Cardinals as well. They lost 28-27. All these games are close games. And I think that makes it more frustrating. When you get blown out, you just want to put it behind you and move on, and you kind of just pray about it and hope something better happens. In these close games, that's when you really do your homework. That's when you say, hey, what did we do? What happened? Same thing for the Fins, though. And this was the return for Tua. So, I saw a little bit of the game. I was happy to see Tua, but I got to admit, every time he dropped back to pass out of his, 38 attempts it was? I think it is. Let me see. Yeah, 28 of 38, right? He goes 28-38, 234 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. But every time he drops back to pass, I'm just like, oh my God, Tua, be careful. Okay, just don't do anything. All right, like I can't tell him not to do anything, but that's what it feels like. It's like, don't do anything, bro. And but he made it through the game. He's okay. I'm glad that that's the case. I just, I hope he's okay. At the end of the day, we'll know when he gets hit hard enough, but I hope he's okay. In any case, though, close game again. Fins 2-5 right now. I think Tyreek Hill was questionable with an injury. It's just so sad right now what's going on in South Florida. What's going on in Florida in general, guys. It's sad. Cardinals go to 4-4. They made it back to 500. Congratulations, Cardinals. Looks like you guys starting to turn your season around when you won 3 of the last 4, I think it was. So you guys are playing very well. Good job over there, guys. Next game for the Fins doesn't get easy. It's going to be in division. They got to go see the Bills, one of the best top 5 teams in the NFL right now, probably. And at 6-2, Josh Allen has that team supercharged V8 style. They're looking good, feeling good, doing good. So that game's going to be Sunday, November 3rd, 1 p.m. Get ready for that. Yeah, it's kind of depressing to talk about Florida football right now, guys. Let's check the chat real quick before we continue on. Got you. I said Patrick Queen. Yo, that's okay. So, yeah, I'm so sorry about that, bro. T-Rod, I was watching I watched, I think NFL Network they were doing some recent games on the free Roku app for those who use that NFL Network, and they had the Steelers and Ravens on, I think it was, and that's when they were talking about the two linebackers, and I said Patrick Queen over here. It's so incorrectly, so I apologize for that, guys. But Roquan Smith went to Georgia, I think it was. He went to Alabama or Georgia. It was an SEC team for sure. Great guy, but yeah, man, dirty hit. Like I said, he got fined for it. I mean, you outweigh Chris Godwin by what, 30, 40 pounds? Come on now, come on. So anyway, wishing Chris and Mike speedy recoveries, Shepard, Tyke Smith, all those boys. But in any case, that's it. That's what's going on, guys, in the NFL for Florida sports. Let's go ahead and get to our first break of the evening. When we get back, we're going to jump into some college football, basketball, and some MLS action and some hockey action. And I'll get you guys caught up on all the games to expect coming up and what to look out for when you watch those games. But like I said, keep it locked here. Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols. This is brought to you by IE Sports Radio. And like I said, we'll be back in a few moments, guys. Just hang in there with us, all right?
Hey, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen D, host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jen D on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Notorious Lock.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
And just like that, we're back, guys. Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, this is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Guys, we're going to talk about the Gators real quickly. And for the record, there's not really much to say, so we're going to breeze through this part real quick. And the reason for that is the Gators had a bye week, okay? And the Miami Hurricanes and FSU played each other. So we're going to just condense it all. So as far as the Gators is concerned, I kind of thought that they were going to lose to Kentucky. I always have faith in my team. I just don't want to get my hopes up in a situation where, like, I saw the struggles that we were having, especially after Graham went down. DJ stepped up again. And, more importantly than that, Jordan Ball did as well. Jaden Ball did. Played phenomenal football, guys. 5 touchdowns, tying a school record. But then after that, you start asking questions. Okay, it's like, are we ready? And you ask, ready for what? And I tell you, the Florida-Georgia rivalry game. Georgia, fresh off the press, defeating Texas. Huge victory for them. And ranked second. Gators haven't done well inside the top 10. They really haven't done well inside the top 25, actually. So this is going to be a rough game. The thing is, if somebody's going to do it, it's going to be DJ. I'm telling you right now, guys, he's special. Okay, we knew that already coming in. How could you not know it? But he's definitely special. And if anybody can do it, it's going to be him. So it should be at least an entertaining game. We'll see what happens. It's happened the other way, vice versa, where they've had a true freshman come, or not true, but a redshirt freshman come in and demolish us. Maybe we could do something similar to that. But we'll see. We just have to wait and see. Offensive line is going to have to win in the trenches. If they don't, we don't. So it starts there. But that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, that's what to expect there for that game. That game, as far as time to be concerned, is going to be Saturday, November 2nd at 3:30 p.m. The Florida-Georgia game is almost always a 3:30 p.m. game, so that, that doesn't surprise me at all. But it's not like I don't think anybody's really expecting like a shootout or anything like that. So I'm going to be watching, of course, but we'll see what happens, though. But like I said, that game is going to be Saturday, November 2nd, 3:30 p.m. Georgia riding in at 6-1 for their record and ranked 2 in the country. And then, of course, the Gators 4-3, breaking that 500 barrier again this year. So we'll see what happens with our boys. So Noles, so here's the deal with the Noles, right? I'm gonna add a little insult to injury here. Okay. No, it's not a misread right there. Yeah, I'm put the Noles in orange. The Noles don't exist. It's a ghost school. They've got ghost teachers. They've got ghost chairs, ghost blackboard, ghost TV. But nobody's actually alive. Everybody's just dead inside, right? So that's FSU in a nutshell right now. I haven't seen any FSU gear anywhere in Tampa. For the record, here in Florida, football is a very, very big deal. If you haven't watched any college stadiums, see how packed. Basically, Miami, FSU, the Gators are sold out all year long for every game. It's not even a question if they're going to sell it. The question is when. Okay. FIU, FAU, Florida International University, Florida Atlantic University, USF, and what's the other? Not Bethune. There's one other school that has a football program here in Florida, and all of those schools are almost always sold out as well. Now, I've seen chairs missing a few of those games. USF usually plays at the Ray J, so that's when you'll see some spotty chairs. But for the away games, I mean, it seems like they travel well. But yeah, the Noles, they just don't exist right now. This team is in a state of negativity. They found something against Miami. They did, true freshman quarterback, but I don't know if it was worth the cost. I'm just going to say it like that. Okay. So FSU just in a terrible spot right now, 1-7. I've never seen this college look like this since I've been alive. And for reference, I'm 30. So never seen this before. Don't really know what to make of it. I pity them. I feel for them. I'm sure they did when they had Jameis and we were trash, but you get what I'm saying. I feel bad for the Noles, man. I've never seen them like this before. Never in my life. Next game for the Noles is going to be against UNC, University of North Carolina, guys, Tar Heels. That game's going to be Saturday, November 2nd, also at 3:30 p.m. ACC game. That's the reason for that. See, simple enough. ACC game. It might not be pretty. Might not. We'll see what happens. Miami, on the other hand, ranked 5, breaks the top 10 for the first time since 2020, I think it is. First time they've actually looked like a threat at national contenders level since 2000, yeah, before 2005. That's the best team in ACC. Best team in Florida right now. Hats off to those guys. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to say. They played the Gators in the first game of the season, destroyed the Gators, and they've been riding that. Close game, not a close game. They win them all. And Cam Ward, man, I've been saying it. Dylan Gabriel's making a great case. I'm not going to say he's not, but if you come to me and you say, who's the Heisman? I'm going to tell you it's Cam, and it's his backstory. If you guys didn't hear, he was a 0-star recruit coming out of high school. I'm looking at y'all right now because I'm not joking. He was a 0-star recruit. So go look it up. He was a 0-star recruit coming out of high school. Kids got Miami 8-0 for the first time in, you tell me. Cam Ward is the Heisman. This is a guy that literally nobody ever thought he was going to be good. And you see he doesn't get rattled. You see the kid just sees pressure and he's just like, wow, pressure. What are you going to do with that? That's literally his reaction. And then he throws a bullet for a touchdown. He's got a cannon for an arm. Decision-making is phenomenal. If he doesn't miss throws, half of the interceptions he has this season are taken off his stat line. Kid's Heisman. Kid's the Heisman, okay? Miami's next game is going to be against Duke. That game is going to be November 2nd, Saturday, November 2nd at 12 p.m. No need to make that a later game. They already have enough late games, right? So Kane should move to 9-0 after that. Just put him in, coach. Put him in. With this new playoff picture, it doesn't mean the ACC is dead, though. Clemson is most likely going to get in. They're in as of right now. They could suffer a loss and I think still get in, especially if that loss is only to the Canes. But aside from that, I fully suspect that the Canes will ride the ACC all the way to the end, guys. I just don't see that changing any way, shape, or form. And that's that. That's that, guys. So for the NBA, we do have a return to basketball, which is a great thing. And I've personally missed watching Miami Heat play. I'm very impartial to the Heat, but I also like my Magic. My dad loves the Magic, of course, and likes the Heat as well. So, we have a nice little balance there, but Heat playing good basketball. I mean, what do you want me to say, right? So they start the season, they split their games. What is it? 1-1 to start the season. They lose to the Orlando Magic, which is how kind of went last year too. 116-97. The Orlando Magic are 2-1, so they're playing pretty good at the moment. But they were able to beat the Hornets 114-106, so that put them to the 1-1. The proverbial split of the first two games should turn to a 2-1 after they go see the Pistons tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Pistons are 0-3. They've been in trouble for like the last 4 or 5 years as a franchise, and it just seems to not get any better. But that's it. We're still early in the season, so obviously there's going to be time to turn around for Miami. I don't know about Detroit. Detroit's they I don't know. But yeah, so Miami Heat want to start the season. But today, D Wade's statue went up there in Miami in front of the stadium, and it's his him pointing. I believe he's pointing down at the ground. He's saying, "This is my city," and nobody's gonna disagree with him. We love D Wade. I actually have a D Wade Miami Knights jersey. It's actually one of my favorite jerseys, and yeah, just so happy for him and his family. So happy for the franchise for doing that as well. You got to put your guys out there. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, it's the perfect player to put on there. Or I'm sure we'll see more, but definitely belongs up there, I think. Well, guys, I'm so sorry about that. That was a technical difficulty on my part. I do apologize. My screen just went out for a second, and it was so weird. So I do apologize for that, guys. But I'm back. I'm glad that it looked like the screen just malfunctioned. I'm gonna figure that out right after this show, I promise. But again, I do apologize. I'm so sorry. But back to what we were talking about, right? So I said let's take a quick look at the chat before I go into any more detail about the NBA real quick. So Knowles is the only team that I know where their name is derived from. I'm a Pitt fan, and I respect the Knowles. So yeah, it's I used to wonder if it was like a play because the University of Florida was the Gators. So you have like the proverbial across the street, you have the Gators and you have the Indians, right? So I used to wonder if it was a play on that. And then, of course, you realize that like Miami is like the most storied college, as it turns out, for football, at least in the NFL. So I kind of dove a little bit more into Miami, and then finding out they're named the Hurricanes. Like, okay, well, that's not funny, Miami, But yeah, I agree actually. So for that was same for me. That was the first team where I knew where they were derived from, and it made sense. Like, it was like, okay, yeah, cool. We're in Florida. It makes perfect sense. Why are the Gators though? Are y'all like, you guys ever seen Prince of Egypt? Is it like that? I'm excited at the Knowles versus Canes game ever, but the last game was not so exciting. Yeah. The thing is with Florida sports, this kind of happens where these three teams are in a very weird rotation as far as recruiting goes. If you guys remember, Miami they soared in recruiting before the season started. So they did a lot of work in the transfer portal, and I think that was a big part of the reason why that happened. So that's just something else to take into consideration when you think about Miami and why that game wasn't competitive. Whereas when you look at years in the past, there were times where this game was Riddick, Bowie, Vander Holyfield. There were times where those games were just heavyweight punch after heavyweight punch. It just wasn't that way this year, so it is what it is. But on the other hand, at least the Miami Heat are doing all right for the time. I mean, like I said, this next game after the Detroit Pistons, they should be 2-1 and kind of start to get into a little bit of a roll. Jimmy Buckets was doing his thing against Charlotte, so yeah, there's something to be excited there, at least for, there's something to be excited there. For the Orlando Magic, on the other hand, they're playing very well. They started the season 2-1. Of course, they're playing very well. They dropped that last game to the Grizzlies after winning the first two games. The score of that game was 124-111. You knew it was going to happen at some point. They're still a young team. But for the record, this was the year that I felt like that they would really make some noise. Of course, they made a lot of noise last year making the playoffs. I think they were 4th seeding in the East. And, they played so well last year, and I'm so proud of them. But this is where now nobody's surprised, right? Like, nobody's going into the game thinking, oh, my God, Orlando sucks. Nobody's thinking that. Everybody is ready to see this team play well. And I think that they will play well. I think that they're going to continue to play well, in fact. Young team, like I said, so they don't have much to lose, but they had a couple of guys who played during the the Olympics. So when you have a couple of your guys playing, I think you're playing for Team Germany, Franz, and what's the other one's name? They were playing for Team Germany. They played very, very well, first and foremost. But to know that those guys played for Orlando and that they played well when they were playing for Germany was like, they are going to be able to find success here with this team, with the Orlando Magic. So Orlando's done it through the draft mostly. Super proud of them. Like I said, start the season 2-1. Should be 3-0, but hey, it is what it is. Losing to the Grizzlies is never. Nobody's mad at you if you lose to the Grizzlies. John Morant go crazy. So, but in any case, next game is going to be against the Pacers. Pacers are 1-2 right now. That game's going to be tomorrow at 7 p.m. So you got 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. You get 30-minute buffer. I'll be watching it until Raw comes on. So I will get the first hour of the Magic game, and then I will have probably on the laptop, I'll have the Heat game because I think the Magic one is actually going to be, I can watch it on TV. So that's how we're going to do that. And we'll see what happens, man. I hope they can beat the Pacers, move to 3-1 on the season, continue their dominance as they have been over the last year. And so just good luck, Miami. Good luck, Orlando. We'll see you guys tomorrow even. And then I'll be moved over to Raw at 8 o'clock for those of you who watch Raw. If you watch Raw, let me know because I'll be watching it. I'll be watching it. We got Monday Night Football tomorrow, but none of my teams. So, oh well. Bolts. All right, Bolts, NHL back into the mix, of course. Super excited about that as well. The Bolts and the Panthers, respectively, 1-2 in the Atlantic Division. At the time of me sharing this with you, Bolts are 5-3. They're going to be playing the Capitals. Oh my bad, they beat the Capitals 3-0, a blank. And if I remember correctly, Vasilevsky had 32 saves in that game. Now, that's a stat worth remembering. Vasilevsky's been one of the very best goalies in all of hockey over the last 5 years. I enjoy watching that man do his thing. It's truly defensive Picasso. Okay, the man is so reactive. He's got such a great feel for the puck, and he just doesn't make too many mistakes. Just a huge fan of his. I'm still glad that he's on with this franchise. I hope he retires a Bolt. But just super excited for them. To start this season 5-3. They're looking good. Capitals were 5-1 coming to that game, now 5-2. So next game for the Bolts is going to be against the Predators. Predators are 3-5. They're not playing the best hockey right now, so they should be able to win that game. That game's tomorrow at 7:30. So I thought I was going to just be watching 2 basketball games. It looks like I'm going to be watching 2 basketball games and 2 hockey games. I have a laptop, I have a cell phone, I have my TV, my Xbox, and I have that's that iPad and the laptop. So I can do like 5 games at a time. Okay. What the hell? Why not? Right. Yeah. Why not? But yeah, Bolts number 2 right now, right, sitting right behind the Panthers, defending Stanley Cup champions. The Bolts, they got a little younger. So that's good. But I don't know if losing the pieces we lost during the offseason is going to really help. I don't think it helps. So we'll see what happens, but Stamkos is coming back. So that's something to be excited about. Super excited for him. We love Steven Stamkos down here. One of the greatest to ever do it here. And we wish him nothing but the best on his return to hockey. So yeah, that's it. Next game tomorrow night. Get ready for that Predators Bolts game. Panthers. Okay, so Panthers, completely different area. Panthers first in the Atlantic. They're playing just as well as they did last year at this point. They are 6-3. They're getting ready to go see the Islanders. The Islanders are 3-3. I can't remember if the Islanders won that last game or not, but regardless, sitting at 500, always dangerous. This team that also made the playoffs last year, so we'll see what happens in that game. I fully expect the Panthers to win this game. Again, still the best team in the NHL, and I'm not going to take anything from them, and I don't think anybody else should. It's defending Stanley Cup champions, and I think that they're going to bring home that W and improve to 7-3. That's pretty much it, guys. Well, I said that about the Islanders. I meant to say that about the Sabres. That's who they're playing tomorrow night, 7 p.m. So you got 2 7 p.m. games, 2 7:30 p.m. games tomorrow night. But the Panthers are going to be playing the Sabres. Sabres are 4-4. And like I said, I fully expect the Panthers to bring home that game. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, 2 hockey games, 2 basketball games. It's going to be fun. So the only bright spot really about Florida sports is that our hockey teams are 2 of the very best in all of the NHL. So that's something to be excited about, right? Like, yay. In any case, though, moving on down, like I said, that's going to be the Sabres tomorrow at 7 p.m. After that, we have the MLS, guys. So we have some soccer to talk about, guys. So soccer it's fun here. So we have the best team in the MLS, Inter Miami, best player in Messi, and they're 22-4 to close the season. They beat Atlanta United 2-1 in the last game they played. They will be playing again Friday, November 7th. I was trying to do that off the dome, guys. Don't judge me. Saturday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. That's going to be another game against Atlanta United. Obviously, I don't really expect Inter Miami to drop any games against Atlanta. I fully suspect them to win that game. So that's Inter Miami's next game. And then excuse me. After this series, they'll have one more series to play before they can go for the trophy. So Orlando is going to have to win to have a shot. If they do both win out, they'll end up playing each other. So that's going to be good. I think that'll be good. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the games they got to play. Orlando City has to go see Charlotte. They were up 1-0 at half. I haven't seen the score since then. So I'm thinking that they can win that game. The next game is also against Charlotte. That game's going to be Friday, November 1st at 7:30 p.m. So if they win out those games, they'll eventually bump right back into Inter Miami and have a shot. But unfortunately, Orlando City's playing very, very well right now. I don't see them beating Inter Miami. I just don't. Inter Miami, again, best player, best team, best everything. Okay, let's not act like they don't, right? So it is what it is, right? Orlando, again, like I said, on the other side of that coin, they got Charlotte. Charlotte's 14-11, not a bad team, not the best team. The records are very similar. There's a game or two that separates them. So I don't know how that game is going to go, but I fully suspect that the winner of that game is going to give Miami a hard time. I just think that it doesn't matter. I still think that Inter Miami is the best. So, but yeah, that's the game to expect. That'll be the second game of the series. Like I said, matter of fact, let's check it real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's check it real quick. Let's see what the score is. Oh, look at that. Orlando City pulls the W out in full time. 2-0 victory for Orlando City. Congratulations, Orlando City. You guys earned it. You guys deserve it. Super duper proud of you guys. Yeah. So there you go. Or if Orlando City wins out, they will see Miami in the very near future, and that is that's going to be a match that I would greatly enjoy, especially with how well Inter Miami is playing. Right, so we'll be able to see if Orlando can do something to them. That's it, folks. That's all I got for you this week. Like I said, I do apologize again. I know that my tone has been a lot more reserved and less positively emotioned after everything we experienced, but you guys just got to take in consideration. It's hard. We all live a different life. And we all have different things that we're tethered to. For me, it's sports. I've always been super competitive guy. I'm one of those guys who, I'm not going to lie to you. I yell at the screen when I'm watching the games, man. I'm calling. I know they can't hear me. My mom used to say that. My mom used to say, Corey, they can't hear you, right? And I'm like, I know they can't hear me. The universe can hear me, though. I need the universe to do its thing. But you guys get what I mean, though. It is what it is. I'm super passionate about my teams and about my sports, and I love them, So, with everything that's going on right now, it's just it's really hard to articulate, how it feels to be a fan right now for Florida football. But we need our guys to get healthy again. The sooner they can do that, the sooner we can get back to winning. But until that happens, we're in trouble. I had a great time speaking with you guys this evening still, and I really appreciate you guys for joining me on this week's episode of College Sports. Next week's episode will be better. We will be more positive. We will have a lot better things to talk about. I'm putting that out there, and believe for that. But in the meantime, for you guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope you guys stay safe. I hope you guys make a lot of money. I hope your families are well, and I pray for great weather for us all. And that's not a joke. I mean it. It's October. Bring on the cool weather, baby. Same time, same place next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on a Sunday evening, running for Palm Street Sports Radio. I don't have much else, guys. No food for thought. Be mindful. Just be mindful about this time. And again, I wish you guys nothing but the best. And again, I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you for joining me here on Palm Street Sports Radio. My name has been Corey Pujols, your host. And as always, this is brought to you powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. Peace.